Students, in this lecture we will study the loop statements available in VHDL. First, let us study what are the loop statements. Loop statements are used to iterate through a set of sequential statements. What do you mean by iterate? Iterate is nothing but repetition. Loop statements are used to iterate through a set of sequential statements. If you want to repeat the set of sequential statement, then we are going to use the loop statements. Okay. In the VHDL, first we should study the common syntax for the loop statement. Okay. That common syntax begin with the loop label and end with a loop label. It is optional. Why we have to use the loop labels? Means just in the program we are going to know that here the loop begins. If more than one loops are there, then it is very easy to identify by giving the different names for the loop label. Afterwards we are going to take the iteration schemes. There are the different iteration schemes are there in the VHDL. 3 iteration schemes are there. In the coming slides we are going to study one by one. Afterwards the keyword loop, and next is the sequential statements. Any number of sequential statements we are going to take here. One or more numbers of sequential statements you have to, if you want, you can take. Next, the end of the loop, and as I earlier told, that end of the loop label. This is the common syntax for the loop statement. Let us study the iteration schemes. There are the mainly 3 forms of the iteration schemes are there: for, while, and the no iteration scheme. In this way, in the VHDL, there are the 3 forms of the iteration schemes are there. First form is the for identifier in range. That is, first iteration scheme is the for iteration scheme. Let us write the syntax for this for iteration scheme. So, how to write means, just now in the previous slide we have seen the common syntax. Using that common syntax, we are going to write the general syntax for the for statement. Common syntax begin with the loop label. This is also begin with the loop label. Everything is same except the iteration scheme. So in the common syntax, just we have mentioned the iteration scheme, but in the for loop statements we have to write the for iteration scheme. What is the syntax for the for iteration scheme? For identifier in range. Okay. For and in are the keywords, and identifier and range is the user defined. Afterwards, as usual, you are going to write the loop, and next is the sequential statements, any number of the sequential statements, and finally end loop and the loop label. Okay, this is the common syntax for the for iteration scheme. Okay, now let us move to example for this for iteration scheme. Okay, how to start? So before, just I have declared one variable, that is fact is equal to 1, and here I written the example with a loop label. Okay, what is the loop label? L1 is the loop label, and next for as it is. What is identifier? Num in 2 to n range, in 2 and the loop. So here what I have written in this PPT is blue color words are the keywords, because more keywords are there. So just I have put all the keywords in the blue color. Okay, for num in 2 to n loop. Then next is the sequential. This is the one first line, that is range loop. Remember that here there is no semicolon. Okay, and next is the only one sequential statements I wrote, that is fact is equal to fact into num and end of the loop, and next is the loop label. Okay, this is the some simple example for the iteration scheme. Let us see the analysis of this for loop statement and the analysis of the for loop statement. Analysis, or we can say that working of the for statement. Okay, the first 4 lines are the same as in the previous slide, that is example for the for loop statement. Okay, the body of the loop is executed n minus 1 times. Okay, whatever we have written after the loop and before the end of the loop, that is called the body of the loop. That body of the loop in the loop statement is executed n minus 1 times. And NUM, whatever written, that is identifier. Identifier is incremented by 1 after the end of each iteration. Num is incremented by 1 at the end of each iteration. Okay, let us see here the cases. According to this example, I have written the cases here. Okay, in the first case, so according to this example, fact is equal to 1. Here also I have written fact is equal to 1. And let us take the number is equal to 2, because here only we have written this number in 2 to n loop. That means NUM is equal to 2. But n we have to assume. But in the program we have to give that value. Okay, here I have assumed that n is equal to 5. Let us see according to this example what is fact is equal to. Fact is equal to 1 and next fact is equal to 1 into 2. Now what is your fact is equal to? Fact is equal to 2. Okay, just it is a simple mathematics. And after executing this statement, actually there is a statement called end of the loop is there. Okay, but in the loop statement what happens here, it should this number should increase by 1 after the iteration scheme, because it should execute how much? N minus 1 times. So that is why your control goes, it is executed once again this sequential statement. That is called the second case. What happens in the second case? In the first case, just now we have calculated fact is equal to 2. And what is NUM is equal to? NUM is equal to 3, because before case it is 2. After execution of the body of the loop, that is increased by 1. Now your num is equal to 3. Now just you put the values and calculate. You are going to get the fact is equal to 6. Okay, in the same way what happens third case? In the case 3 what happens? Fact is equal to 3 and num is equal to 4, because in the previous case num is equal to 3. After executing this statement once again, num is incremented by 1. Now your num is equal to 4. When the num is equal to 4, once again this sequential statement executes. Now the fact is equal to 24. Okay, and what happens when after executing this case 3, now your num is equal to 5. When num is equal to 5, then what happens? Your control comes out of the loop, or we can say that it is exit the loop. Okay, this is about the for statement analysis, or you can say that execution of the for statement. In the same way, let us study the second form of the iteration scheme is the while scheme. Okay, first let us write the syntax of the while. Once again the same, all the parts of the common syntax are the same except the iteration scheme. Before also we have written the for iteration scheme in the for, and here we are going to write the while and the boolean expression. Okay, all other things are the same and the procedure is also same. This is what the syntax for the while statement, and this is the example for the for iteration scheme. Okay, just I have took the two variables as j and sum is equal to 10, and the loop label what I took while underscore loop, and it should start with the loop label just to understand that in the program it begins the while loop. Next, what is the iteration scheme? While and j is less than 20, this is the boolean expression, and next the loop, and here sum is equal to sum into 2, and next statement is j is equal to j plus 3, and the end of the loop, and next is the while loop. While loop is called the loop label. It is begin with the loop label and it is end with the loop label. Okay, so after this loop and this end of the loop, so whatever we have written here, this is called the body of the while loop. Okay, in the next slide just I showed the analysis or the working of the while statement. Okay, let us see how it starts working. Okay, actually what happens here, first it checks the condition. If this condition is true, then only it is executing the body of the loop. In the initial time only, that means in the first condition only, if your condition fails, means the body of the loop is not going to execute. Okay, okay, you see here j is equal to 0 and sum is equal to 10. While loop is called the loop label. After the loop label, colon is there, and next while is a keyword. And what is your boolean expression? J is less than 20. Is it true or false? So initially you have declared as j is equal to 0. That means this is a true. Afterwards we have written the loop. Okay, when you have written the loop is nothing but if this condition is true means it should execute the body of the loop. Okay, in the body of, in the case 1, here I have written here case 1, what is j is equal to 0 and sum is equal to 10 in the first condition. So in the first condition, if this condition is true means what is sum is equal to? Sum into 2. First sum is 10. 10 into 2 is equal to 20. Okay. And what is your j is equal to? Here what you have written? J is equal to j plus 3. This is also executing. 0 plus 3. Now your j is equal to 3. Okay. And next what happens? Where your control goes? Because of this loop statement, control goes and it checks once again this condition in the while loop. Okay, what is your j value? Your j value is 3. Is 3 is less than 20? Yes, once again the condition is true. When the condition is true means it should execute the body of the loop once again. According to that, what happens? When your j is equal to 0, sum is equal to 20, j is equal to 3, sum is equal to 20. Now sum is equal to 20 and next one is j is equal to 6. Okay, similarly what happens after executing? Now your j value is equal to 6. Okay, 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. Once again it is going to check the condition. Okay, so till how many times it is going to check the condition? Till this condition should false. When the condition is false, then what happens? Your control jumps to after the end loop and it is going to exit the while loop. So which statements you have written after the end of the loop, that is going to executed by that statement. Okay, this is about the analysis analysis are the working of the while loop statement. Third one and the final one is the no iteration scheme. Okay, that means what? No iteration scheme. That means here we have not writing any iteration schemes. Okay, in this form of the loop statements, all statements in the loop body are repeatedly executed until some other action causes the loop to exit. Okay, what do you mean by no iteration scheme? In this form of the loop statements, all the sequential statements, whatever you have written in the body of the loop statement, are repeatedly executed until some other action should cause to break that loop. Okay, this action can be done by using the exit statement or the next statement or the return statement. Otherwise it is an infinite loop. Okay, so usually we are using the exit statement to come out from this no iteration scheme. Okay, before going to use some example for that that no iteration scheme, let us study the general syntax of the exit statement. Okay, this is the general syntax of the exit statement. So exit is a keyword. Afterwards we are going to write the loop label, and next is the when and the condition. Okay, let us see some working, how this exit is going to work. Okay, exit and the loop label. So just now we know what is the loop label and when the condition. Depends on this condition, this loop label is going to execute. If this condition is true, means it is going to exit that loop. Okay, no loop label is specified, then what happens? In which label you have written that exit statement, that is called the innermost loop, is exited. Okay, if the when clause is used, the specific loop is exited only if the given condition is true. Otherwise execution continues with the next statement. Okay, and the next one is the syntax for the next statement, and this is the syntax for the loop statement. Okay, here let us see the example of the no iteration scheme. Okay, here just you see in the common syntax, just you remember loop label, afterwards you are having the iteration schemes. Here there is no iteration scheme is there, directly we have written the loop keyword, you can see here. Okay, and afterwards what happens? Before the end of the loop we have taken the exit statement. Okay, exit, and we have written some condition. If you think that I have not written this exit statement, then what happens? It is an infinite loop. Okay, let us see the working of this example. Sum is equal to 1 and j is equal to 0. Okay, and L2 is called the loop label. Next loop is a keyword, and next I have written the one sequential statement is j is equal to j plus 21, and next sum is equal to sum into 10, and I have written exit when sum is greater than 100. Okay, and next end of the loop. Here sum is equal to 1 and j is equal to 0, loop. But one important thing is, without checking any condition, okay, it is going to execute this body of the loop. J is equal to j plus 21. Initially the first condition, if j is equal to 0, next is 21, and sum is equal to sum into 10, 1 into 10, that is equal to 10. So in this way, after this what happens here? It is check the conditions. Exit when sum is greater than 100. Is the sum is greater than 100? No. First, if now your sum is equal to only 10, then what happens? Once again it starts executing the loop of the statements. J is equal to first 21, now it is 21 plus 21, that is 42. Next sum is equal to 10 into 10, 100. In the second case only, because first is 10, in the second now it is 10 into 10 is 100. But sum is greater than 100? No. If we have taken greater than and equal to 100, then it exits the loop. But now it is not, it is greater than 100, it is equal to 100, but your condition is it should be greater than 100. Then what it happens? Once again it executes the body of the loop. When it executes the body of the loop, here what happens? Now your sum is equal to 100 into 10 is the 1000. Now sum is, that is 1000 is greater than 100. Your condition is true. When the condition is true means this body of the loop is not going to execute it again. It is going to execute the end of the loop L2. So it exits the L2 loop. Okay. Thank you students. Please read the slides again and again to understand the slides or to understand this loop statements available in the VHDL. You read it again and again.